Hello and welcome to this flame tracker tutorial. In this video I will use the manual tracking method to measure flame characteristics such as position, flame length and spread rate, and these instructions are also available on the wiki pages under manual tracking. The reason why it is called manual is because it is basically a point and click method, while the other methods track the flame automatically. Basically, the manual tracking could be considered as a baseline for the automatic tracking, or it could be used for tracking a specific location in the video. In the previous tutorial about the video editing section, I corrected the example video from the GitHub repository and saved the parameters. So now I can just go ahead and open the video and then load the parameters for the video editing. If you need more information about the corrections, you can find the link for the previous tutorial in the description. To start the analysis of the flame, I can click on the tracking menu and then select manual tracking. This will populate the analysis box of the user interface with the options that I can use for the point and click. The first thing to choose is the direction of the flame spread. In the example video, the flame is going from right to left, so I will go ahead and select this option. In alternative, I could have rotated the video of 180 degrees and selected the other option left to right. Now I have to decide the number of points I want to track in every frame, and for now I can just leave one. At this point I have everything I need to start the analysis, but first I will change the number of frames to skip in the video to 499. This means that the code will consider one frame every 500, so for the range selected it would only consider 6 frames in total. Now if I click on Start Tracking, the frames will appear in a new window and I can start clicking. For example, let's say I want to track the flame base along the center line of the sample. After the first click, I will see a superimposed line that will give me a reference for the next frames, so I can keep clicking along the same vertical coordinate. At the end of the tracking, the windows in the user interface will show 2 graphs. By default, the graph on the left shows the position of the clicks in millimeters versus the time expressed in seconds, while the graph on the right shows spread rate versus time. But I can also change the X and Y axis of the graphs. For example, I can select pixels instead of millimeter and frames instead of seconds, and then click on Update Graphs. Let's say that now I want to track the length of the flame. In this case, I can change the number of points to track to 2 and then click on Start Tracking again. Now the frame will not change until it detects 2 clicks on it, and I will see 2 lines that are superimposed. If I don't want to see these lines, I can click on the tracking option menu and select Show Tracking Lines to deactivate it. And now the lines are not shown, and I can click on the base and the tail of each frame. The order of clicks has to be the same in each frame. I could press the escape keyboard to quit the tracking at any time if I made a mistake, but by doing that I will lose any progress. When I am done with the tracking, I can see that now the graphs show 2 lines, one for each click. And if I'm happy with the tracking results, I can click on Save Data and export the results as a CSV file. I could also shift the results to have them starting from 0 by selecting absolute values from the Tracking Options menu. But after doing this, it will not be possible to retrieve the original values. I forgot to mention that it is also possible to interact with the graphs. For example, I can zoom in or out, and if I click on the bottom left symbol, it goes back to the entire plot. The last thing I wanted to mention is the flashing light condition. This is an optional feature that can be used when there is an external light in the video and we want to consider only the frames where the light is on or off. At the beginning of the example video, there is a light that turns on every other second, and to see it, I need to change the initial frame to 0. To focus on the initial part of the video, I can limit the last frame to 500. I need to select the frame where the light is on, for example the first frame, and then click on Pick Bright Region. The preview frame opens in a new window, and here I should select an area that is illuminated by the light, but also outside of the sample area if possible, to avoid confusions between the brightness induced by the light and the one from the flame itself. In this example, I can select one of the holes in the sample holder that is visible when the light is on, and then drag a rectangle. Now, if I scroll through the video, a blue rectangle will be visible in the preview window on the left, and it represents the bright region. Before selecting the frames to track, I should change the number of frames to skip to 14, for example, so I will have 2 frames per second considered. I will also change the tracking points back to 1 for simplicity. If I select Track Only Frames with the light on, and then click on Start Tracking, in the new window I will only see the frames where the bright region is illuminated. In this case there is not much to track, so I'm just clicking in the same point over and over to proceed. In the same way, I could avoid the frames with the light on by selecting Framed Light Off from the Flashing Light option. Also, if I'm not satisfied with the results, I can change the bright region. This concludes the section about the manual tracking method, but remember that you can always check the instructions available on the wiki pages on GitHub. For any questions, feel free to comment below or email me at flameTrackerContact@gmail.com. Thank you for watching and good luck with your analysis.